Oh, and oh, there it goes. That's weird, man. It's everything is acting so weird. We are live. Hope everyone out there is doing well. Welcome to Fun Speculation Podcast. I am Mav, joined here by Fuzzy. We'll see if anybody else hops in later. It is January 29th, so we're already almost into February, which I can't believe, and we've been iced in for like a week. My kiddo missed 4 days of school this week. They canceled school, and but returned to reality for Friday. Apparently, they're gonna have a 1 day school week this week, so it's gonna be interesting to for the kids. But I'm sure it'll be one of those slack off days. But yeah, everything is finally melting away. But yeah, we did have some awesome stuff last week. We didn't have a regular show Thursday night because we had the Xbox Developer Direct on Thursday during the day, which we did the co-stream for. I'm looking forward to get Fuzzy's thoughts on some of that as well during the show. And but I want to thank all of you for joining and appreciate you being here. If you join in live, if you join in later, thank you for watching our content. Thank you for watching the show. If you do like it, remember hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, notification bell. All that stuff is greatly appreciated. I never expected, but you guys rock, and thanks for being part of the community. So, Fuzzy, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here with you. Yeah, we didn't have as much ice, but definitely a lot of snow. And unfortunately, it's still well below freezing, so none of it's going
Yeah.
anywhere. Salt's kind of just sticking on top of some stuff, but for the most part, got the driveway clear. It was about 2 feet. Broke it up into two
Wow.
days. Getting older, not having the boys here to help with being on the shovel team. Feel a little sore, but other than that, man, just been playing a lot of Extreme or Tokyo Extreme Racer, a lot of Forza Horizon 5. I'm trying to figure out if I can do the mod for the No Hesi stuff for Assetto Corsa. Because next thing I want to do is talk about that type of stuff. But man, just excited for May and excited for gaming in general, and so glad to be here with you to kind of just talk about the industry right now.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I don't know how you guys up north do this snow shit and stuff. Like, now I know it's different here because we don't have all the plows and the salt and even this time they put very little sand in places and stuff. Mainly they reserve that shit for the highways and the overpasses and bridges. Um, but this was like I'm 42. I've lived here my entire life, right? In this area, and I've never seen anything like this past week. Because we had rain that turned into freezing rain that then turned into sleet, and that lasted for like a day and a half off and on, and then kind of had some flurries to end it off, right? And what happened was we ended up having this like solid ice coating of about an inch mixed with sleet on top and then a little bit of flurries. So like day one, you're actually able to walk on it a little bit just because there's a little bit of shit on top, you know? And the roads were just complete ice. Like the roads were it just looked like a solid ice. It looked like a skating rink, right? There's actually videos of people uh, ice skating on the streets in downtown Dallas, which is crazy. So we had that, and the first day and a half, it didn't get above freezing at all, so it just stayed right. But then the next day, it got up to like 36, 37, but it was cloudy, and so it didn't really do much to melt anything. And what did melt, it got down to like 15 that night or something, so it just froze over even worse, you know. It just, what all that happened was the coating that was on top just turned into another layer of ice, right? And then the next day we were like, okay, we're actually getting some melting, you know, because it was sunny outside, even though it was only in the 20s. At least it was sunny outside, so we actually got some of that natural melting. But then again, it was super cold, so then it just refroze over as soon as the sun went away. Um, but what was most interesting was the next day because we had actually had a lot more melting, and I figured we had all figured that okay, the world's gonna go back to normal on Wednesday. Nope, it got even worse. What had melted had refroze even worse, and the roads at this point were even worse. And they were the skating rink video I told you about was actually on Wednesday, and we had gotten this ice like late Friday night, Saturday morning.
Mhm.
My entire life, like stuff only usually sits for like a day or two, and the roads
Mhm.
are usually fine and drivable. We did manage to venture out on Wednesday as there was two tiny little pathways we could get in, the grooves of, but we were still sliding around occasionally.
Mhm.
And I thought yesterday was going to be fine. And it had melted quite a bit more. We were able to drive a lot more yesterday as there was a lot more melting because it got to like almost it was like 50 degrees, but there was still shit everywhere. And at night, when the sun went down, the bigger piles just turned into more slick ice. And last night, I got myself into a pickle fuzz because we got home after driving out, and my driveway still like has shit on the sides of it. And where I parked my
Mhm.
truck, I thought I was gonna be able to get out and be fine. What I was stepping onto was like a solid block of ice, and I didn't bust my ass. But I stepped out and I was trying to figure out how am I going to get out of the situation. So my first, okay, get back in the truck and back up and get onto some concrete. But I was like, no, I don't want to do that because like I like with like I'm just gonna risk it. So I actually just held onto the truck and let myself naturally slide down the truck all the way to the back of it, not able to move my feet, just sliding down to the back of the truck until I finally got to the concrete, and then I was able to walk around the other side. But yeah, it was crazy. Today, luckily, or I said Thursday, Wednesday was yesterday. Yeah, so yes, that happened
Mhm.
last night. Um, but yeah, today, luckily, most of it melted. So yeah, back to reality tomorrow. But it has been fucking nuts, dude. And I don't know if I'd ever be able to live in some place where you guys deal with this shit all the time. Even though I know that y'all prepare and you have all the stuff, you guys take
Mhm.
care of the roads and everything. But yeah, this was a madhouse, bro. Here in
Oh yeah.
Dallas the last week. So, but we're here. We made it.
Yeah, it wasn't quite that bad out here, but it was kind of weird because the local schools, which my wife works the next state over, which is
Yeah.
like 30, 45 minutes from here, but our local schools reopened on Wednesday with like a 2 hour late.
Mm-hmm.
Her school, they were closed Monday and Tuesday, and then they did virtual Wednesday and Thursday, and then they're closed tomorrow because it was supposed to be a grading day.
Yeah.
So the school is already going to close because it's like the end of the marking period or something. So all of that gets pushed a whole week because a lot of the kids didn't finish their midterms and stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
outside of that, like the roads were drivable by Tuesday because like you said, they all of the main roads they plow and salt and brine and all that stuff like numerous times throughout the day. And even when it gets cold at night and stuff refreezes, they got the brine mixture there, so it takes it so it has to be below 20 something degrees before it really refreezes again and all that stuff. But for the most part, didn't bother venturing out until today. And because I don't park the car in the garage, there was the patch of snow that was under it when I went to get back up the driveway and had to get out the car to, quickly shovel that. But it was just pretty much almost like a little frozen island from where the car
Mm-hmm.
was because I'm on a hill and I no longer have a four-wheel drive. It's like I joke with my neighbors. It's like, yeah, blame me this time because all these other years when I had Jeeps, except for like the first year we moved here, it hasn't really snowed. But like the first year, it was like 2 feet. The snow was up to like the roof by the
Yeah.
time you got down the driveway because of the snow drift. But now I got just a front wheel drive car. It's like, oh, it's not wanting to get hell. So yeah, it was a little bit of a frustrating, time. Boys are out the house now, so I don't have my shovel crew anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely wears on you, but I don't mind the snow as much, except for the shoveling part. And I was this close to seeing about getting a snowblower this year, and I was like, I'll get the snowblower. We won't get any snow. And I don't get
Yeah.
the snowblower. Hey, we get the 2 feet of snow. So yeah, I'll wind up getting a snowblower when they have the sale at the end of the season, and then we probably won't have this kind of snow for 10 years. So
Yeah, yeah.
we'll see.
It's crazy, man. I like neighbor across the street. She made her like teenage son like shovel the driveway. When it's like pure ice, you know. So like he was
Mhm.
out there for I think hours and hours yesterday doing it, and hours today. And I think probably by the time he was done, it all melted. So
Oh, oh, oh,
Yeah.
oh.
it was funny, man. I didn't understand the point of her having them do that because like their cars are in the garage, you know. Um, anyway, it didn't make sense. So up, Jasper? How you doing, bro?
Good. I forgot what today was, so that's why I'm late. Didn't even realize it was Thursday.
Yeah, we're all losing track of days now, man. Yeah, you
Yeah.
doing good though?
Yep.
Did you get snow? I'm sure you did. Oh, actually
I
saw it
mean,
because the game was in Denver
yeah, the Broncos
on.
game.
Yeah. So it
Yeah.
started snowing at halftime there.
Yeah, there was probably about like 2 inches on the road when I left that night from work, and then the next morning there was like not. It was like a little bit on the ground, and then by the afternoon it was all gone.
Did you get snow in Kentucky?
Yeah, my family back home, they got like I think like 10 inches or something.
Oh, right. I bet like normally was that like something you guys deal with snow
I
there?
would say that's. I mean, like every year you may get like a couple snowstorms where you get like an inch or two, but like
Yeah,
10 inches, like you probably get that once every like 10, 15 years.
that's what she said. Um, yeah, bro. Like it was weird here though. Like I've never seen that much snow here. You know, but I have seen like when we get these storms, it's ice. You know, Kate's from Vermont, and so I've seen that shit. You know, because it's just always like that during the winter there. But yeah, not used to it here, man. But shout out to the chat. Thank you all for being here. I know like this storms this past week affected like a lot of the country, so glad you guys are all here, and hopefully you stayed warm and out of the worst weather. Sea Lord of Bravo says, I live in the one part of Canada rather unfamiliar with icy conditions. Haven't seen snow or ice this winter yet at all. All the rain you could ever want, though. I'm guessing that is that
I'm
like
guessing Vancouver.
yeah, is that like on the western side?
Yeah.
I would imagine, right? Kind of like well, like because like Washington and Oregon, they get a lot of rain, you know.
Yeah, I think that's
So that's like
Vancouver up there on
is it
the
north of
west side.
that kind of before you get up into Alaska, which is west, I guess. Um, yeah, I didn't know. I thought all of if you were to ask me, I would assume all of Canada gets a lot of snow, but I guess not. So that's cool, man. But yeah, thank you all for being here. Shout out to Taylor Parker. Says APU Magnum chip will be also available on the Xbox console PC hybrid OEM. Yeah, I would imagine they may use that chip on multiple different devices. Do you guys think they would use the Magnus on OEM devices or just the actual Xbox? Well, is Magnus the name of the chip or the actual hybrid project?
I think it might be the chip code name, but I would think that they're going to have those in server blades in the hybrid, and any OEMs that they're partnered with would probably have access to it. It'll just be a matter of they might add or subtract the amount of memory depending on like the price
Mhm.
point or something like that kind of thing. But
Right on.
yeah, I think it will be, considering they're also doing something to compete with Nvidia's Blackwell chip. It stands to reason that they'll have server blades of Magnus, the hybrid of Magnus, and then ROG will probably have a Magnus item. Dell/Alienware might have one as well. But we'll see.
Yeah, but they're partnering with AMD for the GPU, right? Um, I'm not a tech guy, so what is the Magnus chip? Like, is it like a equivalent of like a motherboard thing? I don't a CPU or like I don't know I don't understand this shit. So I
It's an
understand
APU.
what is it?
APU. It's a video card and a CPU on one chip, basically.
Okay, okay. So PC equivalent would be like if you took my video card.
It would be like if you took your video card out and you ran it off Intel integrated graphics.
Right. But like so but they're doing AMD for the so is AMD making the Magnus thing or is it Microsoft?
AMD.
AMD. Okay. So that's going to be the GPU then. In Magnus.
Well, it's a
I don't
combo.
fucking understand.
Basically, like most consoles, they and even some like pre-built PCs use what's called an APU. So it's a mashup on one die, I guess is the term.
Yeah.
But
Uh-huh.
you have the GPU and CPU as one unit, and across that unit, it can allocate memory to CPU functions or towards GPU functions.
Okay. I got it.
It's the same as the current Xbox. It's all the consoles basically use APUs. There may be one that's like from ancient times that I can't think of right now that had some kind of
Yeah, so there's not
thing,
like
but...
there's like in the Series X or like the PS5, there's not technically like a GPU dedicated GPU in it. It's this system on a chip that's like integrated all together, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's really no pure equivalent out there for these things.
They don't have an exact spec thing, but AMD does sell or used to sell like a laptop chip that was similar to what the Xbox
Yeah.
does, but I don't think it's the same hertz. I think it was a lower hertz and slower memory or something like that. So
Yeah.
this is our current console is an upgrade over that laptop chipset for speed and efficiency. And then Magnus is like pretty much something along the lines of like 4 times or 6 times what these current chips are able to do on the new. I guess it would be the UNDA or whatever chip technology. So instead of like the RDNA 4 or 5, I guess it's supposed to be UDNA, or I might be wrong on that part though.
Like I never really paid attention to this stuff. It's just like how powerful is it, and let them tell me. You know, it's 5 times more powerful than last generation. Okay, cool. That makes sense to me. You know, everybody always talks about all this RDNA stuff and all these other kind of things, and I'm like, I just want to see what the games look like. So it's good to know. I understand somewhat of the computer stuff now because like I had them build this PC for me, so I understand the main components and stuff all there. But like, so what does the Xbox Ally have in it? It's like a mobile kind of system on a chip type thing, more or less.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of like a more updated version of what the Series X and S would be like, but with less allocation for video memory, if I'm not mistaken. Although it has more memory, I think, than the Series S, obviously. But I can't remember if it's less or about the same memory, just on a different RDNA level. Like I think, what do you call it? Series X is RDNA 2. I believe the Ally is RDNA 3 or 4, but I'm more sure it's probably 3 though. But it's supposed to be more efficient than what the X is, but the X has faster memory for video, just not as much memory as I guess the Ally X has allocated or something to that effect. But you're supposed to be able to get slightly better graphics out of the Series X if optimized, but you'll get better I guess, efficiency out of the Ally X or mobile device and on a lower resolution scale. So lower resolution, the X would be better. I mean, the Ally X would be better. Higher resolution, when you go to 4K, that's where the Series X will shine.
Okay.
Something along
Yeah.
those lines.
So I guess there's no reason they can't like AMD can't sell a version of that to OEM partners, I guess. Or sell
What's
them
in
I
directly as long as
mean,
the
Xbox allows
Xbox?
them to.
yeah, it'd be Xbox contract if they're trying to keep that chip
Right.
their own, like prior, whatever that word is.
Yeah, it's like a partner
thing.
deal chip thingy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, thanks for explaining it to me, guys, because I don't know. I hear APU. There's too many PUs. There's APUs, CPU, GPU, and isn't there like an NPU or something like that too?
Yeah.
Like
Neural
Yeah.
processing unit, that's the AI related stuff.
yeah, okay. Too many PUs, man. Um, but yeah. Besides that, shout out to the chat. Shout out to Dave. Thanks for being here, bro. Talos Ray, BT Maverick, Game Adaptation Newscast, Sinceres, Back from Dead. Shout out to you, bro. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, everybody. Yeah, shout out to you. Thank you for being here on the show. What somebody said PPU? Is that a thing? A PPU, or is that just a joke?
That's just a joke.
Okay. Might as well be. Might as well be. So overall, we'll get a little bit into the Dev Direct first because that's going to carry us over into the other conversation. But we did have the Xbox Developer Direct last Thursday, and we got to see some awesome games. We saw Forza Horizon 6 kicked off the show, and we saw Beast of Reincarnation. And we saw too much of Kiln, probably. Maybe a little bit too much time, but it's fine. Seems like a decently fun game for some. And then ended off with a bang with Fable. I saw a lot of positivity immediately after on Fable, and then after that, I've seen like people saying a bunch of bullshit, starting to ride some of the typical conversation topics, trying to bury it already, for some reason. However, I think more positivity than anything else on Fable after the showing there. But yeah, the big one to start off the show though was Forza Horizon 6. Now, Fuzzy, you had a stream where you had posted your wish list after the Dev Direct on what you want from Forza Horizon 6. It's set in Japan. And yeah, but overall, I'm just curious, like, what was your initial impression of Forza, and were you happy with what you saw?
Was definitely happy with what I saw. I think I'm looking for, for them to do a little bit more of deeper dives as time goes on, because they usually do
Yeah.
like each month they'll do like a dev update or something like that. But I got to see some of the highway system, uh, even though it's just small clips of it. Some of those roads we've seen similar in like GT7 with their highway track that's kind of a mimic of the actual Tokyo Expressway. We also seen some of that highway system set up in Extreme Tokyo Racer. So having some iconic like the circle, I guess, exit or entrance ramps that we've seen, uh, that's going to definitely be a cool drifting challenge. But like overall, the highway is what I wanted to see and make sure they had, a decent kind of layout as far as ramps, on ramps, and so forth. And they showed, I would say, enough to at least get me excited about it. They also showed some updates to car modifications, even though Forza Aero has always been kind of so. But they definitely showed, a few more body kits and a few more wings spoilers and things like that. That you know, it's going to be great having them on some of the additional cars that we've seen them add. The other big thing was player garages, which we kind of had a taste of that with Forza Motorsport. But that customization, I know a lot of people don't necessarily care about the player house or the player character, but just having a little bit of that stuff was pretty cool. And the fact that they brought back car meets, that's huge. That was probably one of the more significant, even though it may not seem like it now, but one of the more significant things that I was hoping that they would have or bring back, and they have. It will help tie in better with the Forza clubs. It'll
Hmm.
also make it easier finding cool paint schemes or cool tunes for special cars. Like if it's a particular car that you may not have come across because you're not that far in the festival challenges and things like that. You might be, if you have the cash, be able to pick it up or at least buy a copy of that car kind of thing, and that would be pretty cool to have take or be able to take that into your championship run as you're trying to get that gold wristband. Which I'm glad they brought the whole wristband aspect, although they've had variants of it in different horizons, but Horizon One, I guess it was probably the most even though it was the first one, it was probably the most thought out in comparison, or the most uh, the easiest to understand.
Hmm.
And it looks like they're bringing that same aspect back, where you want to upgrade to the next band color to be able to get to bigger races, unlock better cars, unlock special events. Which we'll see if that Gundam that they showed at the end is part of a showcase race or something like that type of thing. But love what I saw as far as the visuals, the mountains, the drifting, which we knew that was going to be a big part.
Yeah.
The little nods to things like Initial D. I guess we're gonna do the tofu delivery as one of the storyline kind of things, but there's only a handful of things that we haven't seen yet that I hope that they go into more detail. Um, I'm hoping there's a no hesi mode in the game, but that's something that I'm pretty sure if it is there or if it could come at a later date, it'll be something that we'll find out more as we get closer to the launch date in May. But yeah, just biting time until May 15th for the pre-order. So yeah,
Yeah.
can't wait until that time frame now.
We were doing the co-stream with we had PTK, Jasper was there, Steele was there, and Steele was like talking mainly about some of the stuff that we didn't see, at the showing, and like for me it was like maybe those are opportunities for them to deep dive later on some of those things, because they didn't part of it was they didn't really dive as much deep into the culture stuff as they could have, right?
Yeah,
And they kind of, I think a lot of the one line things were like, hey, we're gonna have these car meets, and then they showed it for like a few seconds, and then it's gone, right? And then we're gonna have this, and then they kind of like ended it there. We're gonna have this, and so like those individual things, I want to see the deeper dive stuff, so that way we can kind of see those things fully fleshed out. And it was interesting. They on the Xbox Wire post they mentioned like the neon lights of Tokyo, right?
hmm,
And it's all going to be there and stuff, which is awesome. But we didn't get to see that aspect in it, which was kind of strange that we didn't get to see that yet. So I think at some point maybe we might get a deep dive into some of those things, more so. And it almost felt like they were holding back showing some things, and this was more so just like overall arcing. Like these are all the things in the game, like how big it is, like how massive it is. But we're not gonna really dive deep into any specific thing here, because I got a lot of questions, man. I got about all those things that we saw. Now I'm curious, like how does the estate thing work? How does how the car meets, like, because this they said interesting things, like we're gonna be able to show off our characters as well as the cars. And it's like, okay, so are we actually gonna be able to like walk around the car meets and check out each other's cars? And they said you can, you know, uh, basically buy a car that's like like the other cars that you're seeing at the car meets right then and there, which I thought was really cool, as well. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they like deep dive on all that stuff. That's some of the things I'm gonna be keeping an eye on. You had mentioned like the no hezzy stuff for the Assetto Corsa, like that'd be really cool to see it around the Tokyo highways, for
Yeah.
sure there. You've had a chance to sit on it a little bit, Jasper, and you're a tuner driver now.
Yeah.
So does this get you excited after you've had a chance to sit on it?
Um, I would say there's aspects that kind of some moved up, some moved down. I did watch, like, if you go to the Steam page, and I think they even put it on YouTube later, but they have like a 45-second trailer, and I feel like that
Yeah.
trailer, the way they cut it, it shows off much better than the dev direct where everything's split apart and them talking and stuff. Because there was more of the, like, I guess I missed it in the dev direct, but there is a shot of night racing in the city, which I was like, oh, okay, that's good that we're actually having that. But then when I saw that, I was like immediately like, oh yeah, but we don't have the neon lights under the cars. It's like, so that's where I'm like, aspects are like, oh, it's better and it's worse. It's like I kind of want the actual underglow, the wraps, the things that make it look like a street car and not just like a car out of the dealership that you're driving through the city at night. So I want to see more of that and see what they show of that if they do. Considering they didn't show any neon lights, I'm like, it's probably not in the game. I don't know. So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah, I'm curious about how deep they're going with the tuner cars. Because they did show it in the trailer. They did show like quite a few, especially at the beginning of the showcase. They showed quite a few like of those like B type cars, you know what I mean? From like the classic Forza days, you got your
Yep.
Subarus, your Supras, your RX-7s that were always like class C or class B type cars, and you would upgrade them to A or whatever. And back in the day, I remember in the old school Forza Motorsports, they had a lot of tuning options for those cars, right? And um especially if you think about other games that from that era, the Need for Speeds back in the day and other things like some of the coolest stuff. Midnight Clubs was tuning up those cars, putting the different kits on them, mixing up the kits sometimes for the best look, lowering them, changing the stances, putting the glow, all that kind of stuff. And I want to see how far they go with that in this game, being that it is set in Japan and the tuner culture is very big, right? They showed that you can put the stickers on the windows, which is cool. I'm happy with that. That's a nice addition. That'll help with the aesthetic quite a bit. But yeah, there's still a lot of things because it's like I Forza's generally had a large European flavor to it,
Yeah.
and this is their chance to kind of like go deeper into that Japanese and tuner culture, which is like my favorite era of street racing and car culture. And being that Forza Horizon is basically a street racing game, you know, that's what I hope to see more. So in future deep dives and stuff like that. Like I know there's a lot of kits that they have. It's just the Forza kit, you know. You get the hood with the ring on it. You get the carbon fiber like on the rear bumper and on the front. And then the giant, huge fucking carbon fiber spoiler. You know what I mean? And a lot of times it's like all you have as an option for now is like just the Forza kit or whatever. Yeah, I want to see more of like all the different kits from all these different companies and stuff like 3 or 4 kits per car. That'd be sick with the different options for the neon and the colors and like smoke effects would be awesome if they could level that up a little bit too. With all the drifting going on and stuff, it'd be awesome to have a little bit more smoke as well. But hey, it is a Forza game, so at the end of the day, it's still going to be a Forza Horizon game, and I want it to be a Forza Horizon game. But I am just these are the questions I have about like what are we going to see as we dive deeper into those things, right? And those are some of the things that I was kind of noticed was missing from that, but I don't know if that was necessarily the place to show it either. You know what I mean? So it's interesting, but we'll have to wait and see, man. Forza Horizon, I think overall initial impression from the masses was like, holy shit, this looks amazing. And I think Forza Horizon is a very important game for Xbox. Especially like we'll get into this in a little bit, but especially after the financials came out and
Yeah.
the down again after and probably a large part of this is because of the lackluster performance of Black Ops 7. I would assume.
Yeah.
But overall, we all expect the hardware sales to decline. We all expect that stuff, and year over year, another 30 something percent for hardware sales. That is what it is. They're in the middle of transitioning and going to be doing something new there. But what has been kind of different this time around with this review, this latest update on the financials was the content and services being as
That's
far
because they
down as they
pissed
were.
all the Game Pass users off this year, and everyone canceled.
Well, they raised the price on Game Pass, right?
Yeah.
They had a lackluster year for Call of Duty, but like overall, there was still a shit ton of great games to play.
Yeah.
Last year there was a lot of really good releases on Xbox. Now people call them. I see a lot of people saying Xbox didn't have anything look great last year, this or that. I mean, no, like Outer Worlds 2 is a great game. Avowed is a great game.
Also, that I don't
Like
think that sold as well as they thought. Didn't Outer Worlds 2 only sell like 1 million copies or something like that, if that?
yeah, I don't know. Like the first one sold maybe better right out the gate, but at the same time, the first one wasn't a Game Pass right out the gate either. I don't believe. I think it hit later.
Yeah.
And also, I I think that gaming and the attention span for gamers for a lot of these different single player games has changed. Like part of my question, and we're gonna get into this, is I want to save it because I want to get y'all's thoughts on Fables first because
Okay.
we're gonna get into this other discussion. But yeah, I'll save that. Fable. Fable was massive deal for me. Finally seeing it, and it hit on all my major questions. Right. I see people trying to culture it now and label it as this or that and all these other kind of bullshit things. But overall, I think it's going to be the game that I hoped it would be after everything that we saw. And I'm curious about your thoughts on that, Fuzz, because you're not like a Fable guy from back in the day because you didn't play Xbox back in the day like I did. So,
Yeah.
like this being kind of your first foray into it, did it look intriguing to you?
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, just a bit of background. Like you said, didn't play the original Fables because I was on PlayStation at the time, and didn't really, wasn't really excited for an upcoming Fable if it was going to have that similar caricature like aesthetic to it. So the fact that they went more with photoreal when we first saw that, I was already sold on the game at that point. Seeing some of the combat, as far as it reminds me a lot of, I forgot the name of the game, Hogwarts, as far as like the magic aspects. Um, and some of the melee reminds me kind of more so of Avowed in a way. I know some people will say Witcher, and I know that there's a game director or developer from the Witcher team that came over to Playground and stuff. But I like what I saw as far as the combat. I like what I saw as far as the interactions with the NPCs. The fact that the morality system is there and the things I've heard about the morality system, and I guess with the exception of the horns and Halo kind of thing, which I'm kind of glad that's not the case because I'd rather keep the character looking realistic as opposed to having them morph into a demon or an angel or whatever. But
Hmm.
I like the fact, or knowing Playground, they'll probably make it so if you want horns, there'll probably be a hat you can buy or something like that. But I just liked everything I saw as far as the visuals. Now I know that there were some nitpicks on the walk, and there were some nitpicks on some stuttering possibly. But with Playground, I'm pretty confident by the time it's ready for release, they'll have that game optimized. And I think if they make the walk where it's kind of like Sims 4, where you can make any type of character walk any kind of way, whether it's
Yeah, that's what I
sleepy
kind
or
of have a feeling it is.
yeah. If they do it like The Sims, then I'm fine with it. But more than likely, I'm gonna probably wind up picking what was shown as the original character when they first unveiled this game. So it's probably not going to matter much
Hmm.
when I go to play at least the first playthrough. Second playthrough, I'll probably go with making the character somewhat like myself, I guess. But we'll see if there's beards in the game because that's the other gripe I had with Forza, where the characters that you have as your avatar, the only beard you can use is the Santa beard kind of thing. So hopefully they have like facial hair and stuff, which I think I saw one of the characters when they showed like the different models and things that they did. But
I
the
wonder if
visuals, the
I was gonna
fact
say,
that
I wonder if Fable will do the thing that Forza does, where like I remember the very first time like I played like I think it was Forza 4, like you start up and it's like, "Hello, Chandler," like the GPS. I wonder if they'll do that with Fable. Like you start the game and it already has your name, and it's like this is the story of whoever.
Feel like
that
the
would be pretty
narrator could
cool.
do it, like,
Yeah,
oh, we're telling the story of little Chandler and his Hamlet. Oh, poor Chandler's grandmother was just turned to stone, and Chandler's angry now. What is he going to do? This is the story of little Sparrow Chandler and his future. And oh, Chandler's turning into an asshole. He's buying all the property and kicking everyone out in the streets, and he killed Dave the Giant and is laying on a hill. Chandler's grown to be quite the dipshit. Oh, the little rich twat. I don't know. Yeah, it'd be interesting.
I think this game is going to be Xbox's Hogwarts to some extent. It may not reach, and I don't think because of the IP not
no,
being,
no.
a Hogwarts kind of thing, but I do think it will do well on the platform and it'll be a big draw, especially with it being on multiple platforms. I think it will do well at its launch. But yeah, I was excited for when they showed the unveiling of it like a year or two ago. The initial CGI trailer. After they showed like the first scene when they were showing the giant and whatnot, and now we get to understand that if you either kill the giant and let him, I guess, rot in the farmland, or you could, I guess, make a deal with him, and I guess he'll help, you know, stomp on the ground to make it easier for planting or something. We'll see, but yeah, I like the fact that you'll be able to make all these decisions and those decisions will affect how the townspeople will react to you and so forth. So, and the fact that some of the stuff, although I didn't hear anything about STDs, which I don't necessarily want to have that in my game,
Mhm.
but the fact that you can, marry as many, women as you want, have all the kids and whatnot. Yeah, this feels like it's going to be kind of an adult theme game to some extent. And I think that's something that, they need in the Xbox, I guess, variety of offerings. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Right on, man. Yeah, we'll have to see kind of how deep some of those mechanics and stuff go. I again like th- these deep dives, like for the rec, they don't reveal everything. You know what I mean? But they do kind of give you an overarching idea, and I think it answered a lot of questions. Will STDs be in the game? I don't know. Dragon's Dogma had an interesting one that would actually was it STD or was it just a virus?
It
The one where
was
you turn
some
into a
sort of
dragon.
infection like that
Yeah, that's right.
dragon flu or something.
Dragon 19. Yeah, I don't remember what it was, but it would end up making you turn into a dragon and end up blowing up your, or cause I don't remember. Yeah, blowing up everything.
Destroy your save in the town that you were in or
Yeah, yeah,
something.
yeah. I think one of your companions gave that to one of mine, Fuzzy. So I got to question what you were doing with your companions there in your Dragon's Dogma. Um,
We were slaying dragons, and we must have caught the dragon herpes or something.
yeah, Dragon Herpes, Fire Crotch. What is like? Everybody's upset, or not everybody. Some people are upset that your character doesn't change appearance. You know, based on good or bad. But what if they only changed appearance if you got a STD? You just had like herpes all over your mouth and shit, just walking around, and everybody's like, "Could you imagine?"
Well,
Can
that's
only
what I
imagine the
noticed
townspeople
when
would be like, look at the monster.
when they showed the kid version of your character, whatever. It literally just looked like they shrunk the character, like adult character, down. Like they had like weird proportions, and like they didn't
Yeah,
show they didn't show the front of their face. So it's like, do they just have like their adult face on the front? It's in like a child's little legs.
right. Yeah, yeah. They didn't show the face of the kid. That's interesting. Yeah. Um, we'll have to. I mean, Fable, I think is going to be amazing. Some people were talking about the frame rates and here and there on some of the combat stuff, and I think overall, like they still got most of the year to kind of get some of that smoothed out, and but overall as well, like one thing with Xbox too is they support their games and update them over time, even the ones that aren't successful. Like Redfall, like Redfall is a completely different game now if you play it as opposed to at launch, and like that was a game was like, wow, PlayStation or another company could have just like abandoned it and just be like, hey, this shit was just not worth anything, but they actually fixed a lot of shit in that game. So regardless of how one of these games launches, which they all need to launch in a good state, in my opinion, and I'm sick of them doing 30 frames at launch and updating them to 60 later. I do know that like this game will be a game that gets support over a long period of time. Avowed's getting just I think had just new updates as well, which is one of the 2025 releases we're talking about. I had looked it up as well, just to kind of get an idea, like when we're talking about 2025 for Xbox. And the financials came out for the last quarter or whatever. I don't really get big time into the financials, and one of the things I usually do look at is like the content and services, because like hardware, I'm expecting that to decline because they're not really even pushing hardware that much anymore right now. Especially the series consoles are talking about the Xbox Ally more so than they are the series
Do they count
consoles.
that as
I don't know.
hardware
I
since
don't
that's a
know.
partnership?
I don't know because it's not like Asus is
Yeah,
the
I don't
company
know.
that's actually manufacturing. Like I don't know. Um, but besides with that, I expect the hardware to be down, but the content services thing has always either been either even slightly down or slightly up, right? This time it was also down. I think it was. I had it here. Mm, da, 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 da.
I know something was down, I think 9%, and then I don't remember what the other ones were. Maybe
I'm just
in
trying to skim
revenue
through this
overall, it's down
article.
9%.
As the overall revenue dropped 9, the hardware revenue 31. Um, okay, Xbox content and services revenue decreased 5% compared to the same quarter a year ago. Right, so that's something we had seen even with hardware declines. Content and services had still been like up a lot of times, which is like Game Pass, you know, game sales, stuff, content sales, stuff like that. So that being down after the year that they had of 2025, which I keep seeing again, people are like, well, they didn't have anything. They didn't have any big games or whatever. I'm like, fuck, man. Like, last year they had a fucking shit ton of great games. Like, they had Avowed, South of Midnight, Towerborn, whatever. Doom: The Dark Ages. Is that not a big game? I mean, back any other time a big Doom releases is considered a big release. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 or 4, which I played a shit ton of. I actually loved. Outer Worlds 2, Ninja Gaiden 4, The Return of Ninja Gaiden. They had Gears of War Reloaded. They did have a Call of Duty with Black Ops 7, which ended up kind of not doing as well. But it was kind of weird seeing that the content services are down in a year where they had so many releases. I mean, they had
But the thing is, like,
so many releases.
I don't
bro.
know. They had so many releases, but I think all of them kind of failed expectations, like sales wise and just what they expected it to do. I can't think of one that was like, wow, that actually did really good.
Right. So that's
Like Doom did worse than I feel like they thought it would. Call of Duty obviously did terrible. I think Call of Duty did much worse than people actually think. And Avowed didn't. I don't think that really sold as much as they wanted to. And then Outer Worlds 2, it didn't sell as much as they wanted to. So I think they a lot of their expectations this year that it just was not hit.
Yeah, Satya was talking about their streaming hours and PC increased again. It's interesting to think about where they're at with that year of releases. I'm just like, nobody else held a candle to them last year as first party wise, as far as putting out that many quality good games, and that's what we've all wanted from them, to do. Uh, they have backed away from the hardware sales, but I didn't expect the content services to decline 5%. Now, maybe Call of Duty is the X factor there, because it is such a monster that if it does really worse than like Call of Duty Black Ops 6 would have been compared to, which did extremely well. So if you have a Call of Duty that is breaking Call of Duty records like Black Ops 6 did, right? And then you have a Call of Duty that is lower than any of the other Call of Duties in recent memory, that can be a huge swing there just with one game.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the biggest monster of them all. So, yeah, granted, I agree with you, though. I don't think that the other games even necessarily like did as well as what they would have hoped for or expected. And I don't know who to blame that on. It's not like, I don't think it's Xbox's fault or Microsoft's fault or anything like that. It's almost like just gamers in general. Attention spans and gaming habits have changed so much that these kind of games are just either you're going to have one anomaly out there that's like a monster. It does extremely well, but the rest of them all just kind of come and they don't do as well as they used to. Like, and it happens with PlayStation too. A lot of their first party games aren't selling like they used to also. So it's like, how, that's why I labeled this thumbnail The Last Hurrah, because I don't know what to expect going forward. Like, are the franchises of Halo, Gears, and Fable strong enough to get beyond that point to where they are talking about how amazing they did sales wise and all that? Halo is usually, right? Even Halo Infinite did gangbusters out the gate, right? But this is a remake of the original, right? That doesn't have multiplayer.
Yeah, it's obviously going to do less than Halo Infinite. I feel like, just because it is a remake for one, and it is a single player only. So going in with that already, you're limiting your pool of, I think, sales with that in general. So you're waiting for the next big Halo after that, which would be Halo 7 or whatever it is at that point.
I mean, it's been a long time since we've had a real Gears game.
Yeah.
Gears 5. I love Gears. and I think they're expecting a lot of Gears. Now, maybe Gears is still got that like pull. I'm hoping it does.
I think Gears has a chance because it would be the first mainline Gears releasing on PlayStation at the same time, presumably. And it's been a while since we've had a actual mainline Gears. So, and it's gonna have Marcus in it. So they're doing a lot of fan requests and like stuff that people actually want. It has Marcus, the main character everyone loves. They're
Mm-hmm.
kind of going back a little bit. They're bringing it multiplayer back, hopefully in a big way. So it has a lot of things going for it, and it's going to be on another platform. So I think Gears is the best chance out of any of the games coming out next year. Besides like Forza 6, I think Forza's just a huge thing that has surprised Xbox over the years,
Yeah,
honestly,
so
with how
that's
big
why
it
I
is.
was saying earlier that um, with Forza, I think it's a very important game
Yeah.
because I mean, Call of Duty is going to Call of Duty, and I think ultimately, like, hopefully this year's is a rebound year. Like, you know, it Call of Duty sometimes has these swings where it's like one year's an off year, then the next year's a massive year, and we don't know what the big Call of Duty reveal is going to be this year. I think what is the rumors another Modern Warfare, or do you know what?
Yeah.
So if they come out and it hits really hard, it could grab that like attention and become that like, hey, yeah, the last year was kind of an anomaly. This year is going to be a huge deal, and I think it's very possible. Gears, I'm like up in the air on how well it's going to do. I hope it does amazing, man, because I want more Gears. But I think a lot of question is how fully fleshed out is the multiplayer going to be. Like
Yeah.
Gears 5 had a pretty damn big, robust multiplayer component that they did well supporting for a long time. Um, but we haven't seen Gears besides Gears of War Reloaded in a while. So yeah, I think a lot of it's going to come down to that. But I still don't like think a lot of the traditional multiplayer games that we're used to seeing do like amazing from back in the day. They don't
Well,
grab people's attention as much at long haul wise as they used to. You know,
yeah, I think just nowadays every game has multiplayer and everything's fighting for your time. Like back in the day, Halo 3, Halo 2, when those were coming out, like it was almost like a new iteration of and a new like idea for what multiplayer could be back then. And there wasn't every game doing something like that. So people would jump in and talk about it and enjoy that. And now like if you really want something, there's 20 games that are free to play that you can go jump into if you just want to scratch that itch for a little bit.
right.
And everything's competing for time and money now.
I think Fable's going to be like a darling game, you know, and it's going to do well. But like, I don't think, and
Yeah.
maybe it meets above their expectations still. But I don't think it's going to be like one of those games that sells like 25 million copies or something like that. You know what
No,
I mean?
no,
It's
no.
just not that kind of game. Gears could be that kind of game. Like if it catches on, everybody's like, "Holy shit, this is fucking amazing!" And it has the multiplayer and people get sucked into it and stuff. But is that still as relevant as if it was back in the Gears 1, 2, 3 days? You know what I
I
mean?
think
So
I think Gears could do that if they have like a secret mode that the previous like beast mode or horde mode, like if they have a unique mode that they've just come up with just for this game and it really catches on, then I
yeah,
think you see a Gears like take off like that.
something like, and it sucks to even say this, but it's almost like the big time streamers need to really get into it and shit for sometimes these multiplayer games to explode. You know, like it really seems like you can get an established multiplayer that's fine and it just kind of has like a regular, you know, but for it to go massive mainstream
Yeah.
and super popular, it's like you got to see a lot of those big time streamers playing it almost in order for them to catch on like that. And it sucks. I don't like that. I don't like that we live in that world, you know, but it kind of seems that way, right?
Well, I mean, that's just
Um,
because that's where everyone gets their opinions from now. They don't listen to their friends
yeah, they
anymore
don't
because,
look, they think for themselves. They care about what
yeah,
does Shroud say about this game.
yeah.
What does the burnt peanut think, or what does fucking Tifu say, or like Ninja, what is his opinion? It's like I fucking could care less of what their opinion is on a game. I want to judge it for myself, but that's not how the world is, really. It's like whatever the trend is what's driving people to play a lot of times these days. um Nate Dogg says Xbox died. Poor man, Xbox didn't die, bro. We're talking about um overall, just like this past year with the report of the revenue and all that kind of stuff, and being the content and services being down on a year that they had so many fucking games. Like, what does that mean for 2026? Like, how can these games buck that trend? Right? Can they buck that trend? Can Fable, Gears, and Halo remake buck that trend? Are they the ones to do it? Because this is, if there's any year of Xbox IP, it's this year. You got 25th anniversary of the biggest franchises in Xbox are all launching this year, right? The biggest racing game now, Forza Horizon 6, which I think could even explode beyond Forza Horizon 5. So that may be that's the one, despite Halo, Gears, Fable. Like, Forza Horizon is the one that could actually like change that trend, maybe, and also a successful Call of Duty. But yeah, it's interesting. Like a year from now, will we be looking at content and services being down again? Because that's the really health of the ecosystem there, right? You know what I
I
mean?
mean, if you remember back, I think it was maybe the middle of last year, Xbox put out I guess a policy or a statement said that they want all their studios to make 30% profit or whatever it was, or 30% like
Yeah, which is a
something.
bullshit
Yeah,
thing. I
yeah.
don't know.
So I'm kind of wondering to see if like they're just this next year or so they're just testing to see what their studios can actually do and try to meet that goal.
Yeah. What happens if they don't?
Yeah.
And that right. Because, okay, that's my point, right? Is this the last hurrah? Is this the last time? Let's say, and I'm really not trying to troll or anything here. It's just because of what's been happening with those numbers. Xbox's trend with Microsoft overall as the parent company, how they see them. They blamed them in the reports this year, right? They blamed the gaming division for being down in certain areas, right? They blamed first party titles, the lack of success with first party titles. They actually said this, right? Now, next year is the year of the tentpole franchises. Next year's the 25th
I, d-
anniversary, right?
I do think though if they don't improve from the sales forecast they just had, I think Phil's gone next year.
Sincere says Microsoft rebutted that claim, saying that it was false, that it wasn't due to first party performance. Well, who reported that originally? Because that was everywhere yesterday. Um, but yeah, like, okay, Fable is gonna do what it does, right? It's not gonna be the savior. I hope it does well enough that they see value in keeping it going, right? Halo, they already had multiple projects in the works, and I think Halo is still valuable to them regardless as a brand, right? Gears, can it capture the magic that Gears has had in the past? People are excited about it, and cause this resurgence a little bit, right? Forza Horizon, will it expand upon Forza Horizon 5 and become even a bigger monster this time? And then will Call of Duty hit again? You know, if all these things come out and all these things release, and we see this time next year 5% down in content and services, and they mention first party studios as one of the culprit, that would be something I would be like, oh shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I love those franchises, man. I love those franchises, and I want to make sure I want I want them to fucking succeed and kick ass, and but I just don't right now. I just don't trust Microsoft, bro. Just be honest with you. I just don't trust Microsoft. Shout out to TK Chillin 2065 with a $10 super chat says, I'm stoked for Gears with the young Delta squad and the relationship between Marcus and Dom grow. Me too, man. Talk about emotional story, getting back to the roots of how it all started. Gears' story is so underrated, bro. Like underappreciated. I can't wait for it. And I think 2026, like Xbox is gonna have, just like 2025, the best first party lineup out of anybody. But man, why the fuck did why are we sitting here with those results? And I think Microsoft is asking the same thing, right? What did you make of those financials, Fuzz? Like overall, did you have any of these same thoughts that I had, or was it more like this is an anomaly for you? Like I don't know.
It's a combination of things. Like I know people will probably get the pitchforks after me for making the Satya Nadella meme, where it's like, for this year or for this past quarter, you raise prices on content services, you raise prices on consoles again, and then you want to blame first party, or you wonder why your sales are down. I think there's a little bit of everything sprinkled into why they're not meeting their expectations. I mean, this Call of Duty was not what people wanted. Um, Hopefully, they learn from that and stick to a formula that people are going to spend money on and continue to play. Not saying that it didn't make money. It made money. It's just it didn't make normal Call of Duty expectation money. And I think that's probably the bigger thing. Like I don't remember what the numbers are exactly for this title or for the most recent Black Ops, but most studios would probably sell, organs just to sell the same type of 11 million to 12 million figure sales number for a game. But when you sell 11 million, copies of Call of Duty, it's considered a failure or a flop.
Yeah.
But the nearest great selling game is somewhere in like the 8 or 9 million range, other than other big tent poles that may reach 20 or 30 million, like your Madden or your 2K or something along those lines. But I don't even think those are reaching quite those same numbers on a consistent basis. Like there are years where they fluctuate, but Microsoft is that company that sees that, oh, Black Ops 6 was 6% of where we expected. All right, well, next year, Black Ops 7 should be 5% at least above that 6% increase over the previous year. And that's where companies seem to, trip over their own feet. Like I've no, I wasn't a CEO, and no, it wasn't a $1 trillion company, a several $100 million company. And when you get to a point of the owner wanting a 15% increase year over year, and then things start to only become 6%, 4%, 2%, and then layoffs come around, and then you restructure, people you laid off, you eventually hire a percentage of them back, and then some of them at a lower rate, and you have to worry about, okay, well, what we were importing from this manufacturer, let's see if we can undercut and go directly to the manufacturer overseas and buy it directly through them as opposed to this third party. You find other ways to kind of give you back some of that margin and stuff. And I think the big thing that they need to focus on is what they're willing to sacrifice for a percentage number. Like I still think to this day the jump from $70 games from 60, that $10 jump is why we don't see as many titles as previous that would hit 20 million in sales. Sure, there are still titles that reach 20 million, but we don't see as many. Now, is it because there's less quality titles out there? I guess you could say that to some extent. But I think the bigger thing is that extra $10 takes the person that would normally just buy it, day one and not think about it. Maybe it's in their backlog. Maybe they get around to it in 3 to 6 months. They're not necessarily going to continue buying at that same rate. They might be like, well, there's two games coming out this time, and instead of me spending 140, I might just buy one of them instead of the two. When it was 120, it didn't seem as bad because hey, I'm getting two games, and maybe I get the pre-order bonus, which gives me the skins that I wanted for that game and stuff. So I think players' buying habits, before we even factor in the economy or wages or anything like that, I think people are scaling things back because things are becoming more expensive. So if you're making the same amount of money but everything else costs more, you might pinch a penny here and there or cut back here and there where you can, and that's going to be reflected in some of the sales. The other thing is when the hardware goes up, when the services go up, that's going to make people think twice as well. Like if you're the type of person that would normally upgrade to the bigger, internal hard drive for your console in a couple of years, but now instead of it being a $50 or $100 bump, it's like a $200 to $250 bump. You might, think twice about it. Or if the latest and greatest console version that has whatever skin or whatever on it that you would normally trade up and only have to pay like a $50, maybe $100 difference, and now it's a $200 difference, you're going to hold off on that. So people are going to stay on their hardware a little bit longer. I mean, we're seeing it with PlayStation where now they're sending out emails to PS4 owners like, hey, isn't it time to get that PS5? It's only been 5 years. What are you doing? Get that PS5 now. We want you to buy that PS5 and ditch that PS4 so we can sell you more software and so forth. But I don't know. I think if they have another bad quarter, we will see more layoffs, possibly a closure, maybe a cancellation of a unannounced project. I it's the part of business that a lot of us hate, but it's to keep it profitable and keep the shareholders happy. But I I think next Black Ops, or not Black Ops, but the next Call of Duty, especially if it's a modern warfare, I think will either meet expectations or do better. I think in a year, even in a year where you have GTA, which you're going to get some of those sales as well, it's not that everybody's going to buy it only on PlayStation. There's going to be a good bit of people that buy it on Xbox as well. And then you're going to have something like Forza Horizon, which could do decent numbers for its first year and will continue to do well. And it's going to be on multiple platforms in the second half of the year. And then when it comes to something like Gears, I think all Gears really needs to do is less about focusing on the multiplayer and just have an emotional story. If you have that story that can make the critics cry or feel a certain type of way and write a good review for it, I think that will be what helps it on the other platforms. I think Xbox players are going to support that game regardless. Well, I wouldn't say regardless, but they're going to support that game because it is something that the fans have been asking for. But I think if it winds up at the same time on other platforms, and it's that emotional cinematic story, it'll probably be one of the better selling games on that other platform just because it's got more gravitas to it than anything that will be coming from first party. I mean, sure, Wolverine will do some decent numbers, but I don't know. I think Gears stands a good chance if it is, day and date on PlayStation. I think it will do well over there as well. Just for the story factor and probably for the nostalgia of some of those that have abandoned Xbox in the PS4 era. Be like, oh yeah, this is what I used to love about Xbox, and now they don't even have to get the Xbox to play it. So I don't know. It's just it feels like death by a million cuts, but they're not dead. It's just it almost feels like certain decisions even though they have all of the metrics and all of the data, sometimes I always used to refer to it as bad data, because when you make a decision that negatively affects that data and then you stick to that data and don't look at what is the cause, you're going to continue to either push in the wrong direction or continue to make a bad call. But it's kind of like the whole DVR situation. Remember how they were like, well, we could fix the DVR, but we're not going to because, well, nobody uses it. Well, nobody uses it because it's broken. So how are you going to fix the data to show that people will actually use it if it's fixed until you fix it? Yeah, it chicken and egg. But I don't know. We'll see. But I think they'll have a better year next year. If at worst they'll break even, and hopefully that'll be enough not to get layoffs and closures. But
Yeah. I
we'll
mean,
see.
you would think it'd be better than this year, right?
Yeah,
It's something that it's something I like don't want to have to worry about or think about as a gamer. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like I don't really give a shit what they're making. You know what I mean, or anything like that. I just want to be able to play the games, and I want them to keep making them, right? But that's where like my thought process went to, and I see that. And content and services going up is usually a good thing because that means people are buying and playing the games, right, or subscribing to Game Pass. um and I would have assumed with the year that they had with that many games that would be something to be a positive, you know um for that number, but it wasn't. And like if you look at their financials or whatever, everything else is up across the board. You know what I mean? And then it's like gaming is down. And it's like I I just don't want Microsoft to see it as a detriment to everything else they're trying to do. It doesn't mean they're losing money doing it. Like they're still profitable, right? But they always want to see growth. They want to see growth. They want to see growth because they're greedy fuckers. You know what I mean? Like they're greedy. They want to see growth and everything. They always want to see up, 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 up. And it's like if they don't think that it's like increasing or if it's devaluing, then they can see that as a bad thing. So I hope that these games that they've invested all this time and money on, the Halos, Fable, Gears, which are my favorite franchise, Forza, which are like, so, I mean, you're pretty much, you add Splinter Cell in there, then you're talking about probably five of my top 10 favorite franchises at least. You know what I mean? And like, arguably the top five. And we're getting four of those next year. And I hope Splinter Cell comes back. Ubisoft is fucking off. At least they were mentioned in their report. I was happy that they mentioned the name Splinter Cell when they talked about the
mhm.
restructure. So that was promising at least. But as far as Xbox, we're getting like my four favorite franchises for Xbox next year. You know, so man, I hope it pays off because I want more of them. Like I want those other Halo projects to be finished out. I want new Halo reveals. I want all these games to explode and then invest in everything. And um, yeah, we'll see. What do you think? You think this has a chance to be a big like resurgence year for them, Jasper?
As a whole for Xbox, I would say Forza is going to give them a really good go at it, just because I think that's going to do surprisingly well, and you'll get, even though it's coming later to
But
PlayStation,
also
it's still coming in the
they
same
raised the
year.
price too of the premium editions and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So like,
I I'm just going to wait the 4 days.
yeah,
So,
same. Does
but
that come back to bite them? You think? Do you think actually less people buy the premium upgrade because of that, or do you think what they
If
actually
it was
make.
still the $30, I probably would have bought it. But now that I have to pay basically the price of a full game, I'm just gonna wait.
'Cause I'm kind of the same way. So I'm wondering how many people have that mindset. Does that come back to bite them, the fact that they raise the price on that, or does it end up making them more? Because it's like that's like a gamble, that they're taking.
I think they'll figure it out as they go because it is going to be kind of that whole $10 price increase thing for like gaming in general, where hey, you're making $10 more for each sale, but then you're making hopefully more than or less than 10% losses as far as the number of sales. But if I don't know, I because they're charging what they're charging for the upgrade, which winds up being more than buying the upgrade and the game separately, which it didn't used to be. They were pretty much even with buying the whole edition for Game Pass subscribers. I I remember them having at least 2 million sales of either the full game or the upgrade at the launch of five, like within like that first day or whatever. I say it's probably cut in half. Although I could be completely wrong. I don't know. The location definitely warrants, probably more sales and attention, but I think that bump winds up kind of screwing things up. But as a heads up, just in case, if you haven't got the upgrade yet, go ahead and wish list it and then see if you get an email that tells you you'll get a $5 gift card and a $5 car voucher. Because it seems like they're doing that for those that wish listed as opposed to those that would have normally just went ahead and bought it normally. Um, compared to like Forza Horizon 4 and 5 and stuff like that. So give it a try. If you get that email or that message from Xbox a day later, maybe that's their way of being like, oh yeah, we kind of screwed up. Here's $10 back, kind of in a gift card and a car voucher. But
I'll
I
say
mean,
that I think Microsoft may have kind of just fucked themselves overall with the initial increase in Game Pass, because I'm at the point now where, since Xbox is no longer just exclusive to a console and I can get them on PC, that honestly I don't have Game Pass right now. I've canceled it. I think I'm just going to start buying my Xbox games on Steam, and yeah, I just won't play every Xbox game now. I'll just pick the four that I want to play next year, and that's the four Xbox games I'm going to play. So right there, they're getting $240 out of me or whatever, but they're not getting a recurring payment, and I can get a refund on Steam if the game's actually shit.
Yeah, I'm trying to do the math here for you. So $70 a piece, I think, right? So that's $280 plus tax. You're at right around $300 roughly, right?
Yeah.
In 4
30
games.
times 12, whatever that is.
So yeah, it's gonna be 30 times 12 is $360. Is
Yeah.
it worth $60 to you to play all the other games in Game Pass, or do you think you just don't have interest in the other stuff?
I just don't think I have interest.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's we talked about, like, when they increased that price to $30, it became less of a no-brainer to a decision.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of people, you know what I mean. And especially at times when you have multiple months without big time releases, like you do
Yeah.
have some great games hitting in there, like Space Marine 2 is just hitting, and you have a lot of other cool stuff hitting here and there, but I think the big one people are waiting for is Forza Horizon 6, so it's like all the other stuff. For me, it's worth it because I do play on my Xbox Ally, I play on the PC, I play on the console, I play a lot of those other smaller games too, like Clover Pit and Ball Pit and some of that stuff, and then I check out games a lot of
See,
times and then maybe like, okay, I'm gonna play an hour or
if
two of that, but you're not that gamer anymore, or
yeah, I mean, if they have like those, like every now and then they have like a good third party game that comes in there, like
yeah,
a big AAA third party. I might subscribe for that month now. I'm at that point where I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna go back to. I get it for a month and I cancel it until the next thing comes out.
So if they, I wonder how much fall off they had with Game Pass as well. Could that have contributed to that down in
Well, I mean
content
that's why
services?
I think content services is down.
Well, Call of Duty could have done that alone. You know.
Yeah, I mean, true, but I think there's also other aspects to it besides just Call of Duty. Yes, Call of Duty did really bad, but
Yeah, it's just
I
kind of
don't think it's
across the
whatever that.
board.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and we don't really know how well the games do. You know, like they kind of give us some inclination, but like overall, comparatively to like expectations, or because like you'll have like Square Enix all the time. These games didn't meet our expectations. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
didn't meet our expectations, and Ubisoft will say that 2K like we don't we don't ever really get that from Microsoft or Xbox. It's always like they did meet our expectations, but then like is it or is it actually like we don't know. You know what I mean? They're afraid to kind of put out negativity towards any things like that. It seems like with their phrasing and their wording and messaging. So we don't know necessarily what they considered a success and what they didn't. And that's kind of that's kind of like par for the course with Xbox and how they see their brands because they
Well, I
always
guarantee
say
you they
everything
didn't.
was
They didn't consider Call of Duty a success because they actually came out and apologized for the first time in 20 years.
that one, yes, for sure. They did acknowledge Call of Duty, but I think it was so blatantly obvious that they like had to say something in that regard. And I think it's also the kind of an Activision thing. Like they were like, shit, like we fucked this one up. And whose idea was that anyway? Just to keep doing the Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, and the Black Ops 6, Black Ops 7 thing. Who's was that Activision's original idea before? Because it's modern, they would have already had to have the thing in the works before the acquisition was finalized.
Well, I
right?
mean,
like
the Call of Duty community has asked for that, like in the past. Like, if you have like a really good Call of Duty, you're like, just give us some like more maps and a DLC,
like an expansion though, not like the next
yeah, like
mainline version of the
yeah,
game.
like a
That's
year later,
half-assed
just to
version. Like
just to keep it continuing, like, and don't put out like fucking Vanguard. It's like if we
right,
could have just played the game from last year, like another year, and made it even better, do that. Don't put out Vanguard.
right. Yeah, so that makes sense as an expansion. You know, not
Yeah.
like which we talked about numerous times. I think they should have went to a 2-year dev cycle. We have Call of Duty 2, Modern Warfare 2, the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, uh, whatever, explosions or whatever you want to call it. I don't fucking know. And then like Call of Duty Black Ops 6, the Call of Duty's Black Ops 6 Aftermath or whatever the fuck you want to like call it, like some kind of expansion or like, and it would come across a lot better like, ooh, extra content for Black Ops 6. We love Black Ops 6. There's all this new content for it. You know, instead of putting that pressure, okay, you got to do a whole ass new campaign, whole ass this, whole ass that. People aren't going to like it as much because it's not fully fleshed out and all these other kind of things. And tarnishing the brand name of Black Ops and Modern Warfare. You know, it just doesn't make any damn sense. But yeah, like Fillmore Pocket says, Black Ops 6 was in the top 5 of PlayStation's all-time bestsellers. Yeah, like it broke records, bro. Like, so maybe just in that sense, that's another reason why it's hard to match. Gaming is always going to be fickle. If you have an explosive game like that that's being graded, like is that I mean potentially okay, so like you have a game that's an anomaly that fucking explodes like crazy, the next year you're not going to have that same magic.
But I think Black Ops 6, it may have sold well, but I still don't think it had the amount of users that, like, I would say peaked when Modern Warfare 2019 or Modern Warfare 2 came out. Because if you just look at like the history of Call of Duty on Steam, yes, they're all combined, but when Steam had its like, I think it's like 450 or 500,000 peak concurrent Call of Duty players, that was like during some of the Modern Warfare and Warzone eras, and we haven't seen that. And yes, I know Steam's an isolated platform. It's not consoles, but what it does tell you is if Steam is also seeing a lower increase in players to down to 50,000 daily, that trend is carrying across consoles too.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just a one-off thing. Like, I'm not saying consoles are down to 50,000 players, because consoles probably have more Call of Duty players than PC, just because that's game's nature. But if Steam lost 10x players, consoles probably not far behind in losing 10x amount of whatever their top players is either. Now maybe that's 150,000 on Xbox, but that's my point. Is
Yeah.
I think Call of Duty has just been hurting, and I think people don't like to admit that for some reason.
Well, we'll see. I mean, they didn't give it up on it. That's for damn sure.
Yeah,
You know.
obviously.
So that's the problem. Like, it's a promising thing. Like, are we gonna get an Outer Worlds 3?
Probably not.
Yeah. Not unless there's some sort of crossover or spin-off, maybe Outer World Starfield edition or something along those lines. But like it just feels like their best bet would be to come up with an alternative year project. Although I don't know which studio you have take that on, but like Call of Duty should be, like you guys said, an every other year focus. Do the expansion stuff the other year, but have another group of studios focus on something that might be more like I, I'm probably gonna get tomatoes for this, but a more like a GTA type game, or more like um, a different type of shooter, whether it's a
Well,
third person division like thing that's more removed from like something like Gears, and leans more to like the way the division is, or something. Just there
I mean,
has to be a way to kind of fill those alternate years.
with their initial apology, that they said they're going to start working on more original ideas for Call of Duty. So, I mean, take that for what it is. We'll
Yeah.
have to wait and see. And also, I can't remember the name of the studio, but whatever Activision's other studio, they just teased that they have a project that they're working on the other day. So,
Treyarch?
Elsewhere, I
whenever,
think.
yeah, Elsewhere Entertainment, that's what
Oh,
it was.
oh yeah, yeah.
They just teased that they said that they're working on something.
Yeah,
So
that was the new one that we still have never seen the reveal
yeah,
for their game. And supposedly wasn't Treyarch working on something else too? Um,
not sure.
I could have swore I remember something about that. Or no, was it Infinity Ward? Infinity Ward was working on another project.
Yeah, Infinity Awards, like before Xbox bought them, they had that sci-fi game that was in the works
Was
that we'd
that
never seen.
canceled?
I'm going to say probably, but since it was never officially announced or anything, it was always just a rumor. They probably just canceled it and never had to tell anyone because it wasn't
I can't
actually
remember
out there.
if there was like a news of like Infinity Ward's other project canceled or something like that.
Well, I mean, I know they went in and canceled like some Blizzard shit when they first bought them.
Yeah. Well, also supposedly Blizzard has another franchise maybe coming back, because like at the BlizzCon, it's like I think they teased something about and other franchises or something like that.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll see StarCraft return there.
Well, I don't know if you saw that. Blizzard, they put out a video. I think it was 25 or 30 years of Blizzard or whatever, and they said like over the next few weeks to months they're going to be showing something from each one of their franchises, and it scrolled across like all their franchises. So you saw Diablo, StarCraft, World of Warcraft, um, in that. So maybe we're gonna see some updates to a potential new
Yeah.
StarCraft or something this year.
Man, I would hope so.
Because
They
they said
did
they're
do
going to
the
update all their
remaster.
franchises.
Yeah, they did
So,
do the remaster of StarCraft 1, I think, or something. Brought it to Game Pass last year,
yeah.
I think. BR BRP renew. I think as I'm saying that, that's right. It says, "How about we get that Pillars of Eternity 3 already? That would be fire." Yeah, could you imagine like if they were able to put everything into it now, getting a new Pillars after the success of Baldur's Gate 3? and then maybe Xbox saw that, and maybe like Josh Sawyer saw that, or somebody at Obsidian is like, hey, see, like these games, look at what they can do if we get all of this like support and time. We could be the next Baldur's Gate 3 with Pillars of Eternity 3. You know, maybe somebody whispered that into somebody's ear there and they got the green light on it. That'd be amazing. Um, More so that maybe they're probably working on some Fallout shit. Probably. I mean, didn't they bring in somebody from Fallout
They
hit
I
pass?
think
I
his name's
think.
as I want to say it's Tom Kane or something like that. I can't remember his name, but he was one of the original developers across I think Fallout 1, 2, and Tim Kane maybe is his name.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Fallout 1, 2, and I think he helped on 3, and then I think he may have left.
We'll see Clockwork Revolution at some point. We'll see State of Decay 3 at some point. There's some talks of another Dev Direct potentially this year. I would assume maybe going over like Gears and Fable and some of that other stuff. Um, but we'll also have the Summer Game Show this year. So I mean they got a massive year ahead, bro. So I'm just hoping that like, hey, yeah, they kick ass this year, and Xbox and Microsoft is like, Xbox is fucking awesome, and we're just gonna keep investing in these games. Because I don't think we're getting an Avowed 2. I don't think we're getting an Outer Worlds 2. You know, I don't know if we'll get another Tony Hawk's Pro Skater remaster again or another new one. You know, because a lot of these games they kind of release, and it seems like nobody talks about them or gives a shit after they've released, man. And as ones that we've all been excited for, but like even Doom the Dark Ages, I thought was going to be a bigger thing when it came out, but it kind of released and then it was like, oh, that was a good game. You know, and then it's other ones that come out from other developers sometimes that are just like massive phenomenons, like Clair Obscura Expedition 33, right? Or that Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, right? And rightfully so, these games are amazing, you know? But like Xbox had some great fucking games this year that nobody talked about, nobody cared about. A lot of them. So I I don't think that'll be the case this year though, because Halo, Gears, Fable, Forza, they're big fucking deals, right? Let's just hope they actually do well, like it. Otherwise, Microsoft might be like, you know, well, we're not going to invest as much money into them anymore. So, crossing my fingers. Anyway, 25th anniversary. Big year for Xbox. What is Xbox now? Does anybody have an answer for that? Exactly.
A banana is an Xbox, a toaster is an Xbox, whatever you want to be is an Xbox.
In a year, they okay. So you can buy an Xbox still. They're still selling yeah, their hardware sales are down, down, down. But if you actually look at like the weekly reports and all that kind of stuff or monthly reports, they're still selling like okay, I guess, you know, for this. They're at like 35 million console sales this generation. What does that compare to last gen? Probably around the same mark, about the same time period going in, maybe a little less. I don't know, but overall, they have a big user base. They're growing on PC. They have the new handheld things they're going with. They just unveiled the new dashboard for the cloud gaming, which is supposed to be kind of going to be a look at what we're going to get maybe as a unified UI across all devices in the future, which has been met by praise from Tom Warren and Jez. And that's available to insiders or early preview program people for the for if you go to cloud gaming like the Edge browser or whatever and use it. But yeah, so there's a lot of positive momentum there, you know. It's just interesting to see like so much. There's so much negativity when these reports come out. it's like everybody is like Xbox is dead again. And then I start getting in my head like, fuck, what if this happens next year after these games all released? So, well, um hopefully it's not the last hurrah for these great franchises, everybody. I am curious in the chat. I'm going to put a poll while you set up tidbits, Fuzz. What is the best franchise? Halo, Gears, Fable, Forza. Or maybe I should say what game will do the best? That's easy. It's going to be Forza. I can't ask that. Forza Horizon is going to slam dunk everything else on that list, probably, I would think.
Halo, Gears, Fable,
And Forza? Yeah, Forza Horizon
and
6 is going to,
Banjo.
like... I mean, didn't, like, Horizon 5 have, like, 30 million players within, like, a month or some shit like that?
Yeah,
It
something like
was
that. Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sea of Thieves.
No. Well, I'll say, what is the best franchise? What do you
Or
guys
just
love
put
the
other.
most? This is very subjective.
I would say the favorite of the moment is probably Forza as far as its reach, at least at this current moment.
But how pissed off are you
But
at what they did with Motorsport, giving up on it so much?
a bit pissed off in the sense that I think they had all of the right tools in hand and they
Yeah.
didn't go about things to keep it growing. Like and this is something that Horizon doesn't need, but I hope they do realize that embracing the mod community keeps your game alive well beyond, you know, your normal time period. And that engagement just brings more people to the game, keeps more people in the game. Now I guess the key thing is making sure how you handle the mods as far as if they're able to affect races or not is the key thing that they would have to kind of police. So as long as they make it so for, for competitive races, mods are not allowed. Clear and
Mm-hmm.
simple. But for those that are just looking to do, like, let's say club versus club or something like that, where you can do like a no hesi like tag team going through traffic kind of thing, or if you're doing, drift down or tandem drifts down the mountainside, if it needs to, if it would work better with the mod community taking their, time and incorporating things from other titles that they've, brought to life more so than what the devs could do, then I would say embrace it as opposed to making it where, oh, we recognize that you have imported, paint schemes that are not, found in the game or something like that. You're banned, or you have your game is being, restarted or rewritten and re-downloaded or something. Like they have to come to grip with the mod community. If Motorsport did that, I think Motorsport would be in a much better shape as far as its community numbers wise, and there would be more of an interest because the only thing that I ever complained about Motorsport was not being able to import paint schemes or pick paint schemes per car per race. Like you can change the, I guess, the order list, which is great. But if you can't make the paint schemes or pick the particular car, like let's say you want to recreate the IMSA race from the Rolex 24 from last year, having mods where you could do that would be awesome. If you're just doing the single player, if you're doing multiplayer and everybody has to pick a car from the lineup from the Rolex race from last year, then you could do that, or maybe have it where you can import a lot more of the paint schemes from, the MX5 Cup race. Well, I don't know if they call it MX5 Cup anymore. I think they call it whatever that Imitsu or whatever that battery
Mm-hmm.
company is. But those are the things that they should have embraced more so than just kind of chasing their tail on updates. All right, the community asked for this. Let's focus on 2 out of 5 of these and see if that works. Oh, wait, they're not happy. Let's try to do this. And if they had just said, you know what, we're going to open it up to mods. In the meantime, while we work on this track and this, fix here, the mod community would probably step up and say, you know what, we really need chase cameras or replays, or we need the replays to work better. And somebody would have probably figured it out on how to make the replays look more like TV broadcasts. And then they can incorporate that in the game, or just say, go to Nexus mods or go here for those mods. And I think people would be happier overall.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah, I love Forza 2, man. I think the biggest travesty though is like, you're right, they did have the foundation for motorsport that they could have just expanded upon it, grown it, transformed it, even more over the years and years and years. And instead it was like, oh, okay, we're just gonna we're gonna cut the team in half and put the rest on Forza Horizon. And it's like, okay, well, I wish they had, because it's so great. Forza Motorsport is so great, and it was always my favorite out of the two franchises, But it is what it is. Forza Horizon will live on, and I'll get my kicks there, I guess, Jasper, I mean, I know what you're gonna say. The greatest franchise out of those four.
I mean, just purely by me, it's Halo. But I mean, if I'm being realistic with like players and numbers wise, it's obviously Forza.
Right. For me, it's Halo.
Yeah.
And I think also because like Halo has, now it hasn't really been utilized, right?
Yeah.
But Halo has the most potential for just as the biggest brand also. Like, I mean, in general, and it is, you like anytime any big news or reveals happen with Halo, everybody fucking talks about it. You know what I mean? It's like everybody comes out of like their cobwebs and their roach infested like basements or wherever they are, their caves, and got to talk about Halo at least for this period of time, and it becomes the biggest news in gaming. Halo is massive, and it has potential to be way bigger even outside of gaming than it is. When they announced that there was a show, it was a huge deal, even though it didn't live up to what a lot of people wanted. If they did right with movies, they could have other things, but for some reason they don't. But it is the biggest brand. I think it is the biggest potential out there, but also it has the best potential for all these different spin-offs of different kinds of games, different things going on. But overall, just in the sense, like, it's just I think it's the best franchise. Just, it means the most to me too. So Halo. But man, I love all four of those. Halo, Gears, Fable, and Forza, man. That's Xbox, dude. That is Xbox. Jax82 with the $5 super chat says, "What do y'all think Amy Hood meant when she said there's weakness in their first party games? Is the blame for why they're down?" I think that's basically she's saying that they didn't get as much from the first party game lineup as they expected last year. And you could chalk it up to Call of Duty. You could chalk it up to the collection of the other games not performing as well. We don't know because they don't go into specifics, But overall, that's just what it was, and I think it was surprising with the amount of great games that they had. I think they would have probably have to be. I think they were expecting opposite. I think they were thinking, okay, we got Black Ops 7, and they're calling it the biggest Call of Duty ever, and they had all those first party games launching. Like, I would think they probably thought that was going to be a big up year for them, if I were to guess, and it didn't end up being. You know, and we're just talking about one quarter, right? But I think it's reflective of what we're seeing right now. So, but 2026 could be that year. It could be. But anyway, that's what I think. Any other thoughts on that? No. Yeah, we kind
Call
of
of
ran the
Duty.
gamut on it. Call of Duty.
Blame Call of Duty.
Yeah. It's COD's fault, man. When there's that much in one basket, you know, and also it could be a victim of the success of 6. Like we said, 6 broke records, and if it did so well, then yeah, it's gonna be hard to meet that same standard the next year, even with all the other games that they released. All right, so let's do some tidbits.
Attention!
Oh, hi.
All I ever wanted was to touch eternity for an instant.
You're muted, Fuzz.
First one is Karen, coming to PS5 and PC this Thursday for $26.99.
Hey! Hey, wait for me! I'm Marco. Nice to meet you.
That reminds me of that one that was in Game Pass not too long ago. I think Douse or something along those
I'm
lines.
not fooling anyone. There's no way I'll make it all the way to the summit. I'll come down before the end just like everyone else.
Why go up there?
I'm a little quickly safe.
Oh, by the way, this is Tidbits, the segment where we look ahead at the games releasing for the week. This looks pretty.
I'm just here to climb.
Climbing
Yeah.
reach.
Uh-oh,
For all of us, this is the end of
somebody didn't make it.
There has to be a way.
Tell that to all those who died trying.
Cairn. Not to be confused with Karen.
Right, this next one is Don't Stop, Girly Pop. Coming to PC this Thursday for $17.99.
Don't Stop Girly Pop was funny because it was on a Planet Fitness ad with a girl doing like squats. When you said that?
I remember this. The revolution is back.
The tower is flooded to its core.
Everybody sent Jasper hate messages because he canceled his Game Pass subscription.
Yeah, that's fine.
He's no longer one of us.
I actually didn't cancel it. My credit card just expired, and I just haven't renewed it. So
That's fine. It's funny.
Keep it going. Hey, don't stop, girly
Oh my god.
All right, this next one is a classic. It's Grid Legends coming to the Nintendo Switch 2
Oh wow.
this Thursday for $39.99.
Wow, the graphics look like shit compared to the Grid Legends I know. Amazing. I wonder why.
All right, this next one is I Hate This Place coming to PS5, Series X and S, Switch, and PC this Thursday for $23.99.
Oh, stop messing around. I'm starting to think this whole horned man thing wasn't such a great idea.
Who doesn't? The girl whose father offered his wife to the horned man.
I'm not scared. It's just, I really want to know the truth.
They do not see, but they hear the scrape of boots, the panic in a heartbeat.
trying to figure out what kind of game this is, you know? Whoa, what was happening? Okay. I mislooked. I didn't see that properly. I really didn't see that properly there for a second. I thought I saw something else. Yeah, it almost looked like it again. Thought I saw something else there for a second. I really did think I saw something else there for a second. Holy crap.
It is a strange game. All right, this next one is Our Burial Dolls Remastered. Now, this Thursday, it's coming to PS4 and 5, as well as PC. And then this Friday, it comes to the Nintendo Switch. It's $3.99 on PS4 and 5 and PC, and $4.99 on the Nintendo Switch.
Well, 68% of you guys are correct. The greatest franchise is Halo. What I should do is, it would be very biased in our chat though. Do like, what's a better franchise? Halo, Mario.
Oh, an age restricted thing.
Uh-oh. Well, that last one should have been the one before.
Right, so this one here is Code Vein 2 coming to PS5, Series X and S, and PC this Friday for $69.99. I guess the one that's age restricted is a game called The Perfect Pencil. Coming to Switch and PC Thursday for $19.99.
The Perfect Pencil was age restricted?
Yeah.
What are they doing with the pencil?
Flashing guns.
Let me check.
They sticking pencils where they shouldn't be stuck?
100 years of history was forever changed.
I heard that's why you get lead poisoning.
It looks like a Metrovania.
Okay.
But it's like, imagine the Among Us body, but with a camera for a head.
All right.
Take this forma. With it, you can call me to your side anytime.
We can seize the future we want together.
Code Vein was pretty popular, the first one.
Yeah.
I've been seeing a lot of ads for this on the Xbox dashboard.
Let the world hear you.
Save the heroes. Slay the heroes. I got that JRPG aesthetic, but it's a Souls-like, right?
Yeah, the first Code Vein I heard was pretty good, but I heard this one wasn't that good.
Oh, yeah?
So I don't know.
Right,
You
this
like the
next
first
one is Front Mission 3 Remake.
I didn't
coming to
really
PS4
play it,
and
but
5, Xbox One,
what I
Series X and S, and PC this Friday. And it is priced at $34.99.
It's a good franchise. I like these games. It's like tactics. It's like mech tactics, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
What is this releasing on, Fuzz? Everything?
This is going to be pretty much on everything. PS4 and 5, Xbox One, Series X and S, and PC.
Sweet.
The only thing it skips is Switch.
Uh-oh.
Another one.
No, this one has been disabled by the video owner. That was interesting.
Interesting.
They changed their mind. They don't want to release the game this week.
It was supposed to be coming to PS5, Nintendo Switch, and PC this Friday for $14.99. Now, this one here is the 9th channel, coming to PS5, Series X and S, and PC this Friday for $29.99.
Oh, one of those games where some big fucker's gonna chase you around. I can't play these kind of games, man.
You get limited ammo. You gotta do a puzzle to unlock the door or unlock the gate while they're just slowly walking up behind you with an
Yeah,
axe.
I can't take the pressure. I don't like it. So my least favorite Resident Evil. Well, I mean 6 is my least favorite, but besides that 7. I just having them chase me around the fucking house and stuff. Can't do it. Village was interesting with the Lady D, but like it wasn't that. She's not really scary. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, and that's it for this week. I was
Well,
not expecting 2 of them to get 8 or
that's okay. They probably weren't that important. It's all right. I mean, what we saw, we got Front Mission. I'm intrigued in that one with that one, and Code Vein 2.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna buy it if it ends up hitting this like for free at some point or like in Game Pass or something. I'll probably give it a go. But overall, not a horrible week.
Yeah.
When do the big releases start? It's been a while since we've had a big release.
I think we get something in early February, and I'm still under the impression Replace comes in February. So we'll see if
Replace?
there's an announcement.
Is there really? I need to go look at a release calendar, gaming release calendar. Like, it seems like the biggest release we have that soonest is maybe fucking Forza.
No, let me see where Resident Evil Requiem.
I
All
mean,
right,
Fallout
so
New
late
Shadow drop next week.
until late February is Resident Evil Requiem. That'll be pretty big for the month of February. Oh, Tokyo
Oh,
Extreme
okay.
Race
Resident
to
Evil.
PS5 late February.
Resident Evil's big, so okay. So February we're
Now
starting to get some big
PS5
releases.
mid-February. Ion Life 2 mid-February or February 13th.
Okay, January to March. Yeah.
I'm trying to see if there's any early March. Oh, Marathon March 5th. Mav, did you play High Guard or no?
Yes, I did.
Yay or nay? Or
It's
kind of so.
I don't think like it necessarily deserves the hate that it's getting. Like seems like this like, hey everybody rally together and hate this game for some reason. You know what I mean? It's like it's a first time developer or as their first game their studio, the former devs of that left Respawn, I think, because they worked on Titanfall and Apex, right? But this is their first game. They kind of got a bullseye put on his back because of the big reveal of the Game Awards with Keeley, you know. I think this is a game that it had been shadow dropped. It might have just kind of done a little bit of numbers, and people are like, "Hey, check out this game" or whatever. But it almost like had this like big games media presence, and then Keeley all like everybody's flown out there, and everybody's like, "Hey, you have to get like this game," everybody, this game's amazing, and I think the community's like, it doesn't look that cool, and we're sick of everybody telling us how great it's going to be that got to play it exclusively at these events and shit, and we don't believe you. And when the game came out, it automatically, if people that played it barely at all, just like fucking massively down voted it on Steam, and it had like thousands and thousands of like negative reviews and stuff. But I'm like, I'm gonna try it for myself. I thought it was fine. I thought the gunplay was pretty good. I thought it had some interesting mechanics. It seemed like it could be a very competitive, like high skill game. I do like some aspects where it's a lot of back and forth and push and pull there with the sway that the games can have. So, parts of it I didn't like. It's nothing I'm ever going to probably play again. You know, it's just not, mainly because it's not for me. But I don't necessarily think it's a bad game. I think it got like this massive spotlight put on it that it didn't need to ever be there, you know? And it's getting this major backlash for some reason because of it, you know? Yeah, people want to hate this game for some reason. Like I can
It's the
play,
Keeley Association.
yeah. I think part of it. Like I can play it, be like, hey, you know, we streamed it for like 2 hours. You can check out the gameplay, like, and I was like, hey, we can try out this game for myself, and I came to the conclusion, hey, this is pretty decent. It's not really something I'm interested in playing more of, but I can see that there would be people that would really like it. I don't think it has a chance of really doing any massive big numbers or anything. I don't think there's anything necessarily special about it in that way. But it could have a fan base that develops because they like the fantasy setting, they like the mechanics of it, and they like the guns. Or I don't know. I thought it was all right. It's all right. Not gonna pull me away from Arc Raiders, that's for sure. You know, it will to give it a try.
Yeah,
but not now. So yeah, but I don't feel like need to go like, this is the worst game ever. This game, what the fuck were they thinking? So like, it's just like their attempt at making a game that's a free to play shooter, and I think they had some good ideas. Some things don't work as well, and let each person decide for themselves.
I haven't played it, but I don't think they've decided any good ideas. I think they just stole ideas from every other game and put it all
Yeah,
into
I
one
mean,
big
it
game.
has
And
some genericness to it, like,
yeah,
you know, there's so much out there, you know, that it's like hard to do that. Like, I like the way that you destroy the base, like the bombs, you plant the bombs at the base, and then you can defend them, and then you get the opportunity to go. If you do defend them, you get the opportunity to go back to the other base. So yeah, it kind of has this like push and pull aspect to it, to where the games can sway heavily one way to the other. I think the gunplay is pretty not very forgiving, you know. But it feels good still. That makes sense. It kind of reminds me of like arena shooters, like Overwatchy type stuff, you know, with how the gunplay mechanics go. I don't necessarily like the looting in it. It feels kind of pointless. Like you have this time to go loot, and it's like I'd rather just do the Overwatch, or not Overwatch, but like the Counter Strike thing, or just spend the money at the beginning and equip my shit. You know, instead you got to ride your stupid fucking horse out there and look for shit and mount and get it real quick and then go. I think some of the things they did are kind of pointless. The reinforced walls, they don't feel like they actually do anything, because if people get to your base, they can open it in like a second. So what the fuck is the point of the reinforced walls and stuff that they make you do at the beginning of the match? So there's some stuff that doesn't really work very well. But overall, is it still, were we having fun in moments playing it? Yeah, we were. You know. So, but it wasn't like.
Are you gonna play it again?
No, I'm not. You know, but there are people probably that would like it and play it again. You know, it's just one of those things where it's like the game got attacked for some reason for existing. You know what I mean? It's like it's okay for games to exist that you don't like or you don't like the mechanics of, but like there was this like massive like almost like outrage at it for some reason.
Well, I think a lot of that has to do with the Game Awards, like
Yeah,
especially when they announced it's like from the creators of Titanfall and
Yeah.
Apex Legends. I was like, oh, so this has been good, and then it's like, bro, what the hell is this? What are you?
Yeah.
And it's the final thing at the Game Awards. Give us a
Well,
refund. I haven't
supposedly-
even given you money.
Yeah, supposedly how that happened was like Keeley got a look at it and he liked it a lot,
Yeah,
and they had planned to shadow drop it, right?
yeah.
And they were like, it was too good of an opportunity for them to pass up when he offered that slot to them. So they like did it. And that's why they went silent after, because it was always planned to be a shadow drop. Also, they didn't really have any planned like big.
Well, I
other
think the reason
things,
they
so
went
then-
silent is because every time they talked on Twitter, they fucking got roasted.
Well, maybe, you know, and maybe they didn't like a lot of what they heard with the reception at the Game Awards also. But you know, it's like it's interesting how the culture of gamers is to want things to fail. You know, I don't need to promote this game, act excited for it. I can say I tried it. I didn't think it was great. It just was like whatever, and I can never play it again. But it was weird seeing that many people just like go after it on social media, and several that never even played it. You know what I mean? To like,
Honestly, I think that a lot of this negativity kind of brought people to the game. I think that's why it kind of capped out at around 100K that day. It's just because people want to see
how bad it was,
if it's actually justified. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas if they just shadow drop it, I don't think anyone would even have really.
It
heard of
became
it
a
or played it.
trend to hate it, and I don't like that part of the internet in general. You know what I mean? Like it kind of goes with a lot of other shit that happens where everybody's like has to be overly opinionated to one side or the other. It's like let's attack this or attack that and stuff. It's just like that's everything gets so negative, and it's like like the game may not even be that good or suck, but like how many other games came out this past week that suck ass that are way worse than that game?
Yeah, but how many of those take up the final spot at the Game Awards and marketed?
Yeah, but that's the Keeley effect. That's like
Yeah.
that's. But like, is that their fault that they were put there that they were offered that by Keeley, and that they
could've said
accepted?
no.
Would
I
you
think
say
other
no?
devs
Like
will
they,
know for the future.
Keeley goes like, "Hey, we'll put you as the big reveal, the last big thing at the Game Awards." What developer out there is going to say no?
After
I mean-
this, a lot of them might.
After
and
now,
to be
they
fair,
might. Yeah.
I think those developers needed it. If they just looked at their own game, they could have saw that they didn't have a good idea and be like, maybe we shouldn't do this. That would have just helped.
But that would mean they
would've
don't
just been
believe in
better.
their game to begin with. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think they probably felt good about it, but like didn't know they were gonna get the amount of backlash that they did. You know, it's weird to say people should have expected that kind of reaction. Hindsight is so clear. Like you never know what's gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like to get shit on so much, like I don't know. I guarantee they had a lot more players play day one because of the Game Awards review.
I guarantee you, if I was in a focus test for this game before they unveiled the trailer to the Game Awards, if there's like, okay, we're going to give this to a focus group, I would have been in that focus group like, oh, do not show that.
Right. Yeah, I saw a lot of games media defending it too much ahead of its release, and that I think added to it. Where it was like they were pushing it strangely, where they never push games. Like even Keeley, like different people were pushing it to, I think, and that kind of drove people the wrong way also. Like, just let people decide for themselves when the game comes out. You don't need to like be like, try to be its like advocate, you know? because I think it did. I think there was like this. It almost did a detriment to it. Not that it would have changed how good it's gonna do or whatever, but it's kind of surrounded by this like negativity now that I don't. The game could have, if it had shadow dropped, it could have just came out and maybe hardly anybody ever even plays it or cares.
Yeah.
You know, but it wouldn't have this negativity, so it maybe have this chance to grow organically over time without this cloud around it as they fix things and improve things and stuff like that. But
I think if they were going to shadow drop it, they should have done it at the end of the Game Awards. Because what did that extra month actually give you?
right, it could have been maybe they should have done that. That's a good thought. Steele said, I think the game just isn't as good as was hoped. I guess good games get played, so if they can carve a base, it's definitely more successful than Concord. It's already been way more successful than Concord ever was. I mean, way more successful than Concord ever was. Seems to be the game just isn't what it. Seems to be the game just isn't what it has to be. I think Marathon will get through its storm. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Wolfers says Mav is like she's pretty, but I wouldn't date her again. Steele said they removed that from their marketing as well. Realist doesn't seem to be from the creators of Titanfall. Yeah, I mean it's not technically like it's from former developers of like I hate when they use that for marketing too when you're not the actual team. Like if the whole entire team changes, and goes.
Well, I mean,
but
other studios do that too.
It drives me crazy every time.
The game's success is fine, but like Embark with the finals before that came out, everyone was like, "It's it's former Battlefield devs making this."
Yeah,
and and it succeeded and it did really well, and it worked.
Yeah, but it's nothing like Battlefield, except you do have some destruction on the buildings and stuff. So.
Yeah.
I guess in that sense. Steele says people are just over mediocre games. Yeah, my point is those are just so many fucking mediocre games out there. There's a shit ton. But it's like everybody focuses on that one because it was being pushed so much by some of the media and stuff. It's a shame. It was a detriment to them, but I don't think the game was ever going to do that great anyway, honestly. It's just it does feel it feels like original in some ways because of the setting and some of the things they're doing, but original as generic as you possibly can be. Like Kate said, it feels like a mobile game, like a Clash of Clans type thing. You know what I mean? Like, and it reminds me also. Remember the Fortnite clone that came out, Realm Royale? It reminds me a lot of that. Well, that's the thing.
Like everything in their game is not original. They just stole it from other games and put it all into one game. Like the horse riding and like stuff. That's from Paladins. The fucking hero shooter. It's like Overwatch. The fucking building walls and reinforcing shit. That's fucking Rainbow Six. The gunplay is more Valorant like. The abilities like Valorant. Like everything is just another shooter that's all mashed into this game. It's like, and you didn't do any of those any better than those single games, and you just put them in here and it's not as good.
Yeah, maybe not a great idea. Calorie says ARC creators keep shooting themselves in their foot with bad choices on each update. If Marathon is even decent, I think a lot will jump to it for at least a week or two because of ARC cheaters. I personally haven't had any issues with the ARC updates. They've fixed some things in the game that needed to be fixed. They've updated some stuff that needed to be updated. I think people are very impatient and don't realize things take time for developers to do. I mean, they've literally been back at work for like a month. They've already done like 2 or 3 big updates. And we already have content pipeline coming out for the next few months. So yeah, and I know it's these streamers and stuff that are talking all this shit. They're playing for like fucking 7 to 12 hours a day. Some of them 7 days a week. Yeah, they're gonna get a little tired, especially when there's all the stream sniping and all that other kind of stuff going on. But they got to realize they're in a unique position. That's not happening to the average gamer. You know what I mean? Like, and the average gamer also isn't playing fucking 12, 13 hours a day, or maybe some of them, you know. But like overall, I think the Embark team's actually done a fantastic job already of addressing some of the things like um with the Salamantis out of the boundaries stuff. They've already taken care of a lot of that. They're nerfed some things they needed to. They've upped some things they needed to. They have fun new ideas with content. Like they just came out with the thing on Buried City. They just finished with Cold Snap. They're about to do more content planned. I think a lot of the streamers and the big time streamers are just always complaining because their situation is different than other people, you know. And yeah, they'll jump the marathon, or it doesn't matter what fucking game. When a game gets that popular, all of a sudden everybody starts hate playing it. All you do is play the game and you sit there and you fucking complain about it. When a game reaches that level, you know you've made it. People that play Call of Duty every fucking day of their life, all they do is play it and then talk shit about it as they're playing it, and to their friends and everybody else, they talk shit about it. It's gonna happen with Arc Raiders. Everybody has this huge love affair with it at the beginning, and it's like all the little things that was annoying or you didn't like, it's gonna start to pile on. It's gonna start talking about it. It's gonna talk shit about it. And if Marathon hits at launch, and these streamers all start playing it, guess what? A month or two later, they'll all start shitting on it because of content updates and stuff like that too. I don't consider that cheating either, Steel. I think it's a popularity thing. However, some of these guys are, the game's almost unplayable because of the amount of it. So I understand them having a hard time, but at the same time, that's the victim of your own success too. And there's really no, like, I don't know way to prevent that. Like, if we were so popular that people actually like cared to come in and try and get in my games, I'd be like honored. But it would end up sucking because it would affect things, but it would also be like, hey, that's like, it's not really cheating when you're just trying to time getting into a game with somebody, you know? I don't know. Anyway. All right, everybody. I hope you have a good one. Take it easy. I appreciate you being here. Jasper, tell everybody where we can find you, sir.
Lord Jasper Twitter, all that fun stuff, and every Thursday night, or just about, and yeah, that's about it.
Right on, man. Appreciate you as always. And what about you, Fuzzy? Where can I hear your rambles and rants?
Always love doing this with you guys. For those who want to hear my rambles and rants, just search for Fuzzy Belvedere on social media, and you'll be able to find me. And see you guys here, same time, same place, next Thursday.
Right on, man. Appreciate you as always. Yeah, Keller, I hear you're talking about some of that stuff with the streamers jumping ship. Streamers are gonna jump whatever the new hotness is all the time. And if a game doesn't hit, then they're going to go back to the other game. You know? It's... And then they'll check out something when there's a content update. Yeah, it'll have bumps, and it'll sway things, like, here and there. But Arc Raiders is going to have a big player base for a long time. I don't really think there's... They can't just cater the game to the fucking streamers and only rely on what they say. Otherwise, we're all fucked as gamers.
Yeah, that was the problem with the first division.
Yeah.
They really catered to the Dark Zone streamers, and then they completely broke it for 2. Although it's not as fun as the first one, but still, streamers were the problem, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for cheating, like, it's, what is their detection systems, or how accurate are they? Like, are they, because they got to verify this shit. If they're IP banning people for good, they got to take it seriously. Like, you can say first offense, but what happens if you get false reports, or if one of these streamers puts somebody's thing up, everybody report this guy, because I've seen them do it. and they get reported, but they didn't actually cheat. They just actually fucking killed them because they're actually good. Which is another thing I notice all the time. Every single one of these fucking guys is like, oh, they're cheating. And maybe they are good at detecting cheating sometimes, right? But I guarantee you there's some of the people that aren't cheating that they just assume is because they can't believe they actually got them. You know? And you can have these guys and they can put like, hey, mass report this person, because I've seen them do it on stream. They fucking put the tag up and told people to report. And what happens is those people get IP banned for life. That's not fair.
Yeah.
That sucks. You know? That's not fair to them just because the streamer thinks they're cheating or doesn't like them. You know? So like if they give them 3 strikes and you're out, it's going to be a lot more less likely that they're going to get false reports, but they'll still get the cheaters. You know? So anyway. My take on some of that stuff. We're playing Ark every fucking day, so I got a lot to say on Ark with this stuff. But anyway, I hope you all have a good one. Take it easy. Peace out. Bye.